So I bought a lot of horror movies and just cult films in general, so let's just do a good old-fashioned physical media haul. So welcome again to the Cobwebs channel, everybody. My name is Daniel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And yeah, let's just go through the Blu-rays and 4Ks that I picked up over the last month or so. I got my Vinegar Syndrome sale haul from the Subscriber Week sale. I've got some Arrow Video stuff from Barnes & Noble's 50% off sale they were doing. And then just some big box 4K releases that I'm very excited to show you. In fact, let's kick this thing off with one of those. So I got Hammer's new Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter 4K. Yes, Hammer themselves, Hammer, who made all those classic horror movies back in the day, vampire films, Dracula films. They're starting a physical media line. They released a big box 4K restoration of Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. And it's very expensive, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not buy this. It's $64, but Hammer actually contacted me directly and asked if they could send it to me for review, which I was super honored by, very happy to have like a business relationship with Hammer. That's just insane to me, and I said, yes, absolutely. So I definitely wanna show this off to you. I did not open it up yet. I thought we'd do that together. And I haven't really looked up anything about this. I mean, I heard some great buzz about the 4K restoration. So that's very cool. This is the first Hammer film to come to 4K. No other Hammer film has ever been released on 4K, just Blu-ray and DVD and VHS before. So let's go ahead and slide this big box off. Oh man, it looks really, really cool inside. Look at that artwork. Wow, I kind of don't even really want this. I mean, this is so basic, but this is like a nice hard box release. Right there. Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter is one of their 1970s vampire films, and it's kind of their attempt at creating a swashbuckling action hero vampire hunter. That's Captain Kronos right there. Horst Jansen, who played Captain Kronos, actually just passed away, so RIP to him. And his love interest lead is Caroline Munro, so it's great to see Caroline Munro. She's one of my favorite parts of it. It's not a movie that I completely love. It's not one of my favorite Hammer films, but it's certainly enjoyable. So you can just slide this out right here. Got some more artwork there. Oh, this is a book. No, this is a poster. Okay, let's check out this poster. There's a lot to unbox here, guys. All right, there's the old-fashioned poster design. I do have this on Screen Factory Blu-ray, and that's the cover from the Blu-ray. And then that's their new art right there. Super, super cool. Then you take this, open it up. It's got 5 discs? 5 discs? How on earth does it have 5 discs? Okay, so this is 4K with the widescreen UK theatrical version and the full screen as filmed version. Disc 2 is a 4K, that's the widescreen US theatrical version. Disc 3 is a Blu-ray, and that's the same as the Disc 1 on 4K, but on Blu-ray. That's the same as Disc 2 on 4K, but on Blu-ray. And then documentary and interviews, the 5th disc. So this is a 5-disc release. It's $64, and I guess you get what you pay for if you really want 5 discs of Captain Kronos. That's just crazy to me. Then you've got art cards in here. This is one of the fanciest releases I've ever bought. I'm not a big box fancy 4K release kind of guy. One thing weird about Captain Kronos is it's like a vampire hunting movie, but the vampires are not traditional vampires at all. They're really more so like life-sucking vampires, and they're like leave you old and they get to stay young, so they don't blood drink. And then looks like there is 2 books in here. The horror classic as a graphic novel. So there you get a graphic novel version of Captain Kronos. Looks like black and white. And then I'm guessing this is like a more traditional essay booklet. Yeah, it looks to be. It is really thick. It's like over 130 pages. Insane. So that's absolutely wonderful. So I really hope Hammer keeps going with this. Like I said, Captain Kronos is not one of my favorite Hammer movies, but if they do this for Horror of Dracula, for Curse of Frankenstein, I mean, I would be all over that. That is insane. So thank you so much, Hammer, for sending this to me. I'm looking forward to watching the 4K restoration, the first Hammer film ever to be released on 4K. Amazing. So let's jump into my Vinegar Syndrome Subscriber Week sale. If you don't know, I was a subscriber with Vinegar Syndrome, which means they sent me all their mainline releases automatically for the last 6 months of last year. I did not become a subscriber again, not because I had any regrets, but I did it once. It was fun. Didn't feel the need to do it again. So I picked and chose and I bought some things. Now, first of all, let's go over the actual releases that they put out for January that I did buy. This one I was so excited for. Curse of the Devil. This is 3 Spanish Gothic films, all released together on Blu-ray. This is the Blu-ray debut of Curse of the Devil. I actually have a bootleg Blu-ray of that. That is a Paul Naschy werewolf movie. One of my favorites. I think it's super fun, and I've been like dying for a true Blu-ray release of it. And we got it here. But then it also comes with Demon Witch Child, which I actually saw in a theater at a 24-hour horror marathon I went to a couple of years ago. But it was on a super beat up pink, terrible looking film print. And then we saw Demon Witch Child. I watched that. That's from like the mid 70s. And you gotta admit, it lives up to the title because that movie definitely has a Demon Witch Child in it. The film print was in horrible shape.
Oh yeah.
The worst print I've ever seen. It was just pink. It was an insane movie, not particularly good, but I'm really excited to watch it actually looking halfway decent. And I'm sure because it's a Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, it'll look beautiful. So that's Demon Witch Child. And then The Vampire's Night Orgy, which I haven't seen, but I love 70s vampire movies. And that's directed by Leon Klimovsky, who made a lot of Paul Naschy films. So I really like him. So I'm very excited to dig into that. Slip off that hard box. You get this slip cover here. Slide that off. There's the actual Blu-ray. All right, I just took the plastic wrap off, so I wanted to check the alternate cover art. Okay, so that's similar cover art that you get on the slip cover. And then it's got 3 discs, one for each film. This was a big deal release for me. I absolutely had to pre-order it day one. I'm a big Paul Naschy fan, Spanish horror fan in general, so that's awesome. And then I also got The Seventh Curse and The Witch of Nepal. These are 2 Hong Kong horror films. At least one of them has Chow Yun-fat, you know, from like the John Woo movies like Hard Boiled and The Killer. So that's very cool. I've been really getting into Hong Kong films, Hong Kong horror movies more lately. Nice cover art there. And I've heard really good things about The Seventh Curse. This one's got a booklet. I've heard it's very, very fun. And The Witch of Nepal looks to be a good time. I love witch movies. Could not be more excited to dig into these. So I'll have to talk about those on the channel before long. I also got my replacement disc for Looking for Mr. Goodbar. That 4K was kind of messed up. So happy to have that replacement. And then I got a couple of their cinematograph editions. One of my like goals for movie watching in 2025 is I want to watch more movies released by Fun City Editions and by Cinematograph. They just kind of released like obscure drama-ish genre movies from like the 70s and 80s most primarily, and it's kind of what I want to get into more this year. But I got Going South, which is actually directed by and starring Jack Nicholson, kind of a Western romance with him and Mary Steenburgen. Heard very good things about it. And then Dangerous Game, I think I heard even better things about this. This is a Abel Ferrara movie about filmmaking, and it's starring Harvey Keitel and Madonna. I believe Harvey Keitel, right? Yes, it is. So super excited to dig into these. These seem like just very, very good films, you know, not necessarily crazy horror movies, but excited to watch them. And then I'm almost kind of ashamed that I bought this, but I could not help myself. I got the new VSU. That's a Vinegar Syndrome Ultra edition of Virtuosity. This is a movie that I've been familiar with for a long time. Didn't necessarily hear great things about it, but it's a 90s blockbuster action sci-fi movie starring Denzel Washington as a cop who's trying to track down Russell Crowe, who plays an AI-created amalgamation of a bunch of different psychopaths and serial killers throughout history. So it's an AI gone wrong movie. How topical in 2025. And come on, how can you not love Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington? Haven't heard the best things, but I really like these VSUs. Like I really, really enjoyed Congo. They just released like these like adventure blockbuster oddities from the 80s and 90s. And I really like their booklets. They tend to have great booklets in these releases, so you get one too. A ridiculously fancy release for a movie that may not deserve it, but I don't care about that at all. I'm excited to own Virtuosity and check it out. And then I picked up Biozombie on sale. That was the same with those 2 Cinematograph editions too. They were all on sale. There was a lot of sales for Subscriber Week. So I got this for pretty cheap. This is a Hong Kong zombie movie from the 90s. I've heard great things about it. Supposedly it takes place in a mall, much like Dawn of the Dead. So 2025 is my year of zombies I've talked about. So I'm going to have to watch Biozombie. And then I got House of the Dead. This is one of their early releases, one of Vinegar Syndrome's early movies. And it's an 80s low budget horror anthology. And I've heard it's pretty good. So I've been meaning to check it out for years. Finally got it dirt cheap in the sale. So that's great. And then I got 3 movies from Fun City Editions. Vinegar Syndrome used to have a partnership with Fun City and they sold their stuff, but they stopped a little while ago and they were just offloading their stock for almost nothing. So I bought 3 more. I got Heartbreakers, Natural Enemies, which I've heard this movie is great. That's the one I'm by far the most excited for. And Smile. So Smile and Heartbreakers are just curiosity. Sorry. Smile and Heartbreakers are just curiosities. I've heard they're pretty good, so I'll check them out. But Natural Enemies sounds great. It's about a man who just kind of snaps and decides he wants to murder his whole family. And I've heard it's very bleak. And it's starring Hal Holbrook, who you might know from Creepshow and The Fogs. That sounds fantastic. That's it for Vinegar Syndrome. Here's something else I'm possibly ashamed that I bought, but no, I'm not. I'm happy I bought this. This is the Red Shirt Pictures release of Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat from 1986. Now, I like this movie. This is a very fun 80s horror movie, heavy metal, Halloween film, although it doesn't have a whole lot to do with Halloween, but takes place on Halloween. And I really like it. I previously owned the German Blu-ray, which didn't look very good visually, but particularly sounded really bad. It was a terrible audio experience, but I watched the movie on that. But it's finally been released on 4K in an absolutely beautiful edition. It's sold out within days. I didn't buy it when it was first available because I thought it was too expensive. It was $66. And I thought I'll wait for a standard edition. Well, the standard edition went out for pre-order recently and it's almost $50. And I thought, well, that's not even that much cheaper. And it's just a standard edition. So I went on eBay. I haggled with somebody for a while that had this up for best offer. And I got it for more expensive than I would have paid if I bought it in the first place, but not that much more expensive. Like when it first went out of print, it was going for crazy money. I didn't pay crazy money, but I did pay an unusual amount of money for me. I usually don't pay that much for one movie, but it is jaw-droppingly stunning. Hardbox release, you slip this out and you've got the actual 4K edition right there. It's got a poster. It's got a booklet. Booklets mean a lot to me these days with physical media. I absolutely love a good booklet, so that's very exciting to me. And I'm just so pumped to watch this in good quality because I've never seen this in good quality. I'm really tempted to dive into it now, but I'm holding back because I've actually got a Halloween-themed video that I want to do before too long. We're gonna go down a nostalgic Halloween memory lane for a little bit before Halloween even starts. So that's gonna be an upcoming video on the channel, and I will dig into this for that. Next, let's go to my Arrow Video stuff. I got a couple of things from Barnes & Noble's sale. First of all, I got Incubus, which is a movie I was not familiar with before Arrow Video released it, but it's a 1960s European folk horror movie starring William Shatner. And something that's so bizarre about it that I heard is it's in the language Esperanto. Esperanto is a very little used language that's kind of an amalgamation of a lot of different European languages and was kind of an attempt to have a universal language in Europe. And it didn't really catch on. I think it's still spoken in a few areas. But this is one of the only movies that is in Esperanto, and William Shatner even speaks it. He doesn't actually speak it, but he spoke it for this movie. I haven't watched it yet. Very excited for it. Black and white 60s horror with William Shatner. That sounds great to me. And then I got Mute Witness. I haven't taken this one out of the plastic wrap yet. This one I actually just watched. I watched it on Shudder. It is a very Hitchcockian-like horror thriller from the 90s. Kind of an American and Russian film. And it is absolutely phenomenal. I loved it when I watched it on Shudder so much. So Barnes & Noble was selling it for 50% off, so I ran out and got it. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. But I don't want to say any more because I got a video coming where I will talk about it, so stay tuned on Mute Witness. And then here's a few random things I picked up. A couple of Kino Lorbers. I got Turbulence, which is a horror thriller, action thriller, starring Lauren Holly as a flight attendant, and her flight is transporting some prisoners in addition to normal people, including Ray Liotta, who is a serial killer. And the prisoners take over the plane, kind of Con Air-like, and Lauren Holly's the only one who can maybe stop them and land this plane. I watched this. It's a crazy 90s movie. I didn't think it was very good, but it was entertaining. It's a Christmas movie, which is fun. It's got lots of Christmas decorations. They're watching It's a Wonderful Life on the plane. But it's the script. The script is so unbelievably ridiculous. Ray Liotta is both the best thing about it and the worst thing about it because he's the most fun thing to watch because he's so unhinged and crazy and over the top. But also, he just takes me out of the movie because he's so over the top that I can't take anything in this movie seriously. And they bring the stakes of this film so high that it can't be that intense because you know it's not going to go the bad way because like the stakes are just too high. They're not going to go there. So you kind of think there's only one way this movie is going to go. So it kind of lost me in the intensity department. And they make a mistake in that they killed the pilot. So Lauren Holly has to land the plane. So a lot of the movie, they're apart. Ray Liotta's off hanging out in the plane. Lauren Holly's flying and they don't even get a lot of interaction. So I didn't think it was that great, but it was an entertaining enough watch. But I also got Narrow Margin, which comes highly recommended from Ken at Mid-Level Media. So I'm looking forward to watching it. This is a thriller with Ann Archer and Gene Hackman. Love Gene Hackman. So I will definitely be checking this one out. And then here's a couple of movies that I watched on streaming for some lists that I did in the past and loved them so much I bought them. So the first one is The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. I talked about this on my top 10 vintage zombie movies list. I enjoyed this movie so much. I thought it was so excellent. It's a 1970s European zombie movie. It's fantastic. And I loved it watching it on Shudder. So I bought it from Synapse. Very happy to have this in the collection. And then Session 9, currently my favorite first time watch of the year so far. I love this. I watched this for my top 10 movies that take place in creepy asylums. And it was incredible. It was so scary. It was so intense. It was so interesting. And I watched it on streaming and bought it right after that. So now I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray, which has a whole making of documentary, which I've watched about half of so far. And that is fantastic. So I also bought this because I wanted that making of doc. Session 9, scariest movie I've seen this year, the best movie I've seen this year. And if you want to hear me talk more about Session 9, you can hear me talk about it in my top 10 movies that take place in creepy asylums. That list is right over there. Really enjoyed doing that. Or you can check this playlist down here for some more recommendation videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Give it a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. What have you been picking up on physical media? Let me know down in the comments below. With all that said, don't forget to enjoy yourself today. Have some fun, and I'll see you next time.